In our first story, the US and India are likely to sign a mega trade deal of $10 billion before the US president's visit to India next month. The deal could be signed by the US Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer during his visit to India. As US President Donald Trump's India visit date nears, speculations are rife that a mega trade deal will be signed. The two countries are likely to finalize a deal pegged above $10 billion next month when United States Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer visits New Delhi. The deal, whose legal vetting is underway, will be signed during US President's visit to India and is a precursor to a free trade agreement between the two nations. Lighthizer and Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal are likely to meet in the second week of February to finalize the terms of the deal. Trump is expected to be in India during February 24th to 25th. A 6-member team from the US administration was in Delhi over the weekend, meeting Goyal and the relevant line ministries to discuss the contours of the proposed pact. There were meetings on the planned deal in Davos as well during the World Economic Forum. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that according to the Nehru-Liaquat Agreement in 1950, it is the responsibility of Indian government to give citizenship to people who are persecuted in the name of faith in the neighboring countries. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday said, "It's a responsibility of India to give citizenship to the people who have been persecuted in the name of faith in the neighboring countries, including Pakistan." Speaking at the National Cadets Corps rally, the Prime Minister said that it is necessary for the youth of the country to know the truth about the Citizenship Amendment Act. Since independence, independent India has promised Hindus, Sikhs and other minorities in Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan that they can come to India if they need to. The Prime Minister added that this was also the wish of Mahatma Gandhi as well as the spirit of the Nehru-Liaquat Agreement in 1950. He said in these countries, people who were tortured because of their faith, it is the responsibility of India to give them asylum, give them citizenship of India. But thousands of such people were turned away. He added that in order to stop the historical injustice done to such people, today our government has brought Citizenship Amendment Act, giving citizenship of India to such people to fulfill the old promise of India. India has requested China to give permission to evacuate its citizens from the Wuhan province in view of the outbreak of coronavirus. India on Tuesday requested China to clear a flight that could evacuate about 300 Indians from Wuhan, the epicenter of coronavirus outbreak that has so far killed 106 people and prompted the medical isolation of dozens in India over suspicions of the infection. The number of confirmed cases in China surged to 4,515 as of Tuesday from 2,835 the previous day. The flu-like virus has spread overseas, but none of the 106 deaths has been beyond China, and all but 6 were in Wuhan. The fast-spreading infection was first reported in the capital of the central Chinese province of Hubei last month, probably from illegally traded wildlife. Hundreds of Indians are currently in Hubei, mostly in Wuhan. A large number of Indian students are based in Wuhan, though many of them recently left the city for the Chinese New Year holidays. India's External Affairs Ministry made a formal request to China for facilitating evacuation of Indian nationals from Wuhan, and the Civil Aviation Ministry will make arrangements after approval is received from Chinese authorities, an official said in New Delhi. The Director General of Civil Aviation also approved an Air India flight to Wuhan for evacuation, as per requirement. About 300 people, mostly students, research scholars and professionals, are expected to be evacuated from the city. The flight is not expected to leave before Wednesday, as a formal approval from Beijing was awaited. Union Health Minister Harshvardhan on Tuesday confirmed that no case has been detected in India so far and said that thermal screening of passengers for possible exposure to the deadly novel coronavirus infection will be extended to 20 airports from the existing 7. Indian government has announced that no head of public sector banks will be personally held responsible for compliance in dealing with large value frauds committed by bank officials. This comes after the Prime Minister himself acknowledged that there is a huge pressure on the banking sector due to recent fraud cases. Indian government has announced that no managing director or CEO of a public sector bank will be personally held responsible for compliance in dealing with large value frauds committed by bank officials. A guideline for PSU bankers was released on Tuesday. Government stepped in to protect the risk-averse public sector lenders in taking genuine business decisions, as a slowdown in bank lending to industry turned out to be a major reason for the current economic slump. The other measures included setting up of a committee of senior officers by each bank to monitor the progress of pending disciplinary and internal vigilance cases. Besides, the government also invoked Section 17A of Prevention of Corruption Act, which requires prior permission before initiating investigation against a public servant for the state-owned bankers. Considering the complexities involved in the commercial decisions of managers in public sector firms, the Central Vigilance Commission has set up the Advisory Board for Banking and Financial Frauds for a mandatory first-level examination on suspected frauds in excess of Rs 50 crore, involving public servants equivalent in rank to general managers and above, before inquiry or investigations begin. The written rules come weeks after Prime Minister Narendra Modi acknowledged that there was a pressure on the banking system and the government would work to improve the situation. He had assured that before any action was taken against bankers, scrutiny by serving finance or banking expert would be conducted, and promised that his government would issue a guideline in that regard shortly. After the adventure-seeking song Hum Raha, the makers of film Malang unveiled another track titled Fir Na Mile Kabhi. Aditya Roy Kapoor and Disha Patani, star of film Malang, has been able to create quite a buzz among the fans. The trailer and the title track of the action thriller has been received positively. On Tuesday, the makers released yet another track from the film titled Fir Na Mile Kabhi. Fir Na Mile Kabhi has been sung by Ankit Tiwari with lyrics by Prince Dubey and features the lead pair. The track begins with a voiceover from Kapoor. He says, रिश्तों के टूटने का दर्द सहा है मैंने, इसलिए हमेशा रिश्तों से दूर भागता रहा हूँ. दर्द सहने से बेहतर है रिश्ते बनाओ ही नहीं. After the voiceover, the video shows him bidding adieu to his lady love. What follows is an emotional ride depicting the pain of separation. Although Disha looks beautiful in some sequences, it is Aditya who steals the show with his intense expressions. The sadness in his eyes can be felt as Tiwari's voice pours magic in the track. Sharing the song on Instagram, Aditya wrote, "Tu आसमां है और मैं हूँ ज़मीं, हम फिर ना मिले कभी." Song out now, Malang. Malang also stars Anil Kapoor and Kunal Khemu in important roles. The film has been helmed by Mohit Suri and is slated to release on the 7th of February.